this 1 cup, if you drink it every day, I kid you not, it will transform your health. And I'm going to show you exactly why. I want to walk you through this process. So let's dive in to why 1 cup of this mystery liquid I'm about to explain to you is so freaking powerful for weight loss, longevity, and just overall health. Are you ready? Here we go. Okay, here's what I want you to know. Let me just talk out what this mystery liquid is. It's bone broth. Okay, why is bone broth? And vegans, don't get off right now. Stick with me here for a moment because I want you to understand the concept and then we'll talk about the vegan alternative. What I love about bone broth, especially when it pairs to fasting, is that it is healing. And it is specifically healing to your gut. So when we take these 2 concepts of weight loss and longevity, when I look at what organ needs to be in tip-top shape so you lose weight and you stay young, there is hands down the number 1 organ is your gut. Now, a lot of you probably are thinking, well, no, the brain is the most important. Agreed, brain is the most important, but the organ that is affecting how your brain functions is your gut. You can't have a healthy brain without a healthy gut. And that's why bone broth has so many positive attributes that can help us with weight loss and longevity. So let's go through it and look at it this way. In your gut, you've got trillions of bacteria. Some of them are bad, some of them are good. These bacteria are making neurotransmitters that keep you happy, like serotonin, and they are allowing your brain to function in a certain way. They also are boosting your immune system. They keep your immune system strong. They also break down hormones. You have a whole set of bacteria called the estrobolome that break down estrogen. So keeping these bacteria in a very friendly environment is super important. Now, if you've been eating a toxic food diet and you've been under a lot of stress, what you've done is you've decimated these bacteria and you've created an environment inside your gut that allows the bad guys to thrive and the good guys to die. When the bad guys take over, the bad bacteria take over your gut, what happens is you stop making neurotransmitters. You stop being able to drop weight because there is a piece of these bacteria that control how your metabolism functions. We'll talk about that in a moment. And you stop supporting a healthy immune system. So we've got to keep the gut in good shape. And when we've been eating wrong, when we've been on birth control for many years, when we've been on antibiotics for a long time, this gut is completely decimated. And so bone broth, believe it or not, can start to bring back the health of your gut. And it does that in 4 specific ways. First, it has an amino acid in it called glycine. So on the inner lining part of your gut, think of it like saran wrap, like it's thin saran wrap. And every time you eat a toxic food, every time you have a stressful day, what happens? Every time you put in there a gut-destroying medication or even some of the toxic supplements that are out there, what you end up doing is creating little micro holes in this thin lining of your gut. And now toxins have direct access to your bloodstream. So all of a sudden you're getting all these toxins flowing into your bloodstream. You get undigested food that goes into your bloodstream. And that your body, because it senses that as a foreign invader, creates an inflammatory response. So if we're going to stay young and we're going to keep our weight where we want it to be, we've got to repair this inner mucosal lining. And the nutrient that can help you repair the inner mucosal lining is glycine. You want a liquid with glycine is magic for repairing that inner lining. What I teach a lot is you go into the fasted state and the first food that you eat is you drink a cup of bone broth because you've just reorganized the whole terrain inside your gut. And now we're drinking bone broth and getting that glycine so we can help heal that inner lining. When that inner lining is good, now healthy microbes, a healthy ecosystem that can create all these neurotransmitters and support immune systems and help your metabolism can actually grow. Until that point, it doesn't matter how hard you work at your health, if you don't have that inner lining of your gut in good shape, you're going to struggle. And glycine is the answer. So if you're a vegan, you could, and you want to do vegetable broth, or some people will do like a fish broth, just make sure it has glycine in it. That's the caveat there. Second thing that a cup of bone broth does is it turns off the hunger hormone. So you want it as fatty as you possibly can. Now, a lot of people in our community have decided that it's much easier to make bone broth than to buy the conventional bone broth because there is more fat in it. So the fattier the bone broth, the more it's going to turn off the hunger hormone. So a real trick is you can go into a 15, 16, 17-hour fast, then have a real big cup of fatty, maybe homemade bone broth, and now you're repairing the gut, and all that fat is going up into the brain and turning off the hunger hormone, and you might not even need another meal for a couple of hours. So I love the fat content of it. Third thing that bone broth has is collagen. So for my postmenopausal women out there, what we know is as estrogen goes down, so does collagen. This is why we wrinkle. So if we want to bring collagen back up, we got to go find it in outside resources. And yeah, there's a lot of supplements, but I always like to try to find this stuff through food first. So what we can do is start drinking more bone broth to increase collagen. A real interesting trick, honestly, is just try it for like, 3 or 4 days, breaking your fast, every single fast with a cup of bone broth. Maybe you throw in a second cup at the back half of the day, and then start to notice how your skin feels. I mean, I can tell you, I'll start to feel like my skin feels like it's a little bit moister, like it's been given a little more richness to it. I've even seen, the more I drink bone broth, I can even see the color of my skin change. It just looks a little healthier. So look at your skin after you do it for a couple of days and let the proof be in your hands. Okay, number 4. The other reason I love bone broth is it's high in sodium and in potassium. This is great for fasters. I know the whole world is scared of sodium, but if you didn't get the memo, sugar is more of a challenge for blood pressure, cholesterol, cardiovascular system than sodium. And if you didn't get the memo, when sodium is a problem, when it starts to create an adverse reaction in our body, is when insulin is high. So if you go into a fasted state, you're bringing insulin down, and then you break your fast with bone broth, now you've got some sodium that it'll increase, but your insulin is low, and so you're not hitting that double whammy of high insulin, high sodium. That's where we get in a problem. High sugar is another place we get into an issue. But for fasters, those of us building a fasting lifestyle that might go 24 hours, 1 meal a day, once a week, might do a couple of 3-day water fasts throughout our year. Getting extra sodium and potassium is really important. Potassium, those of you that have restless leg syndrome, those of you who struggle with dopamine challenges, potassium is a precursor for dopamine. You need it to relax your legs. It's really important, and you'll notice when you go into a fasted state, you might notice that all of a sudden your legs get really twitchy, you can't sit still, your heart starts racing. That can be as simple as a potassium decrease. And now we have kept our electrolytes in balance. So it's really cool how we can take a fasting lifestyle where healing is happening all the time when we go into these fasted states. And then we compare it with something that as simple as a cup of bone broth. And I really love this idea of putting it right at that first meal after you fasted, because you've changed the microbiome, you've changed the internal environment in the fasted state, and then you come in with nutrition for the gut with this cup of bone broth. If you want to do it at the end of the day, fine. I just like it in that order. So there you go. 1 cup a day for weight loss and longevity. I promise you, bone broth is a secret tool that we've used for years in my clinic, and now you know it. On this video, we're going to talk about autophagy. I've done a lot of videos on autophagy, and if you don't know what autophagy is, don't click off, because I want to teach you this really cool concept that happens inside your cells that actually helps you heal yourself. And what I'm going to show you on this video is that in the morning specifically, there is something you can drink that you're going to love that's going to help boost autophagy. So here we go. Let's dive right in. First, I got to teach you what autophagy is, because some of you are like, give me the goods, give me the goods. Yeah, this autophagy thing sounds amazing. Just tell me what to do. And I'm not spoon feeding you here. I am teaching you how to think. So let's look at autophagy. Autophagy, the word breaks down into autophagy. It basically means that your cells have the capability of eating themselves. Now that sounds kind of confusing, but what I'm talking about is that your cells know how to repair and clean up the mess inside the cell all by their little lonesome. But Most of the benefits of autophagy you can just do yourself, like fasting. Fasting is one of the best ways to stimulate autophagy. And when you stimulate autophagy through fasting, you're not spending any money, you're not spending any time, you're just tapping into the cellular repair system. So when we look at over a course of our life and we look at the accumulation of stressors, physical stressors, emotional, chemical stressors, we got trillions of these cells that are all inside our body, and they're getting more and more and more inflamed, and they're getting gummed up through glucose sticking to them. It's a process called glycation, where the glucose sticks to the outer part of the cell. And as we age, these cells are just getting tired and worn down. So stimulating autophagy is really flippin' helpful. So I already told you, fasting is a beautiful way to stimulate autophagy. In fact, it's the best way to stimulate autophagy. Second best way is you got to keep protein down. So when you eat 20 grams of protein or more, you kick yourself out of autophagy. So autophagy has to have some restriction to it with food, both protein and time restriction. On the other side of autophagy lives this concept called mTOR. And mTOR is where you build muscle, and you stimulate mTOR by eating more, specifically protein. Throughout a day, you should be like cycling between these two things. You should hit the autophagy button, and then maybe once you bring food back into the equation, you're going to hit the mTOR button. And if we learn the principles of both of these things, what we're doing is we're cleaning up and we're growing new things. We're growing hormones. We're growing muscle, and then we're cleaning up the excess, and then we're growing the good. But what happened is, because you never learned about autophagy, then all you were doing is growth, which meant growth, which also meant that these cells became more and more inflamed and became sicker and sicker. So autophagy is key. Now, once you know that, here we go. Here's the one thing. I didn't mean to string you along this video to get to this point, but I really wanted you to understand how important autophagy is. And here's what you can drink. Coffee. I know. It's exciting, right? The most common thing that I get asked is, can I have coffee in my fasting window? Okay, I'm all in, but tell me about my coffee. And I laughed because that's what so many people think. They're like, oh my God, all the benefits. They read Fast Like a Girl. They're like, all the benefits are amazing. And so why would I not do it until they think, wait, I might have to take my coffee out. You don't have to take your coffee out. So here's what coffee does, is coffee stimulates autophagy. Coffee stimulates cellular healing. Coffee can help you detox the cell. I'm going to read you something from a study that was printed in Cell Cycle. And I actually need to read the overview of the conclusion that they found, because I love what they said. Here's what they said, is that clinical trials revealed that chronic consumption of coffee is associated with the inhibition of several metabolic diseases. What does that mean? That means those of us that have high blood pressure, high cholesterol, our hemoglobin A1C is off, our liver enzymes are off, we're metabolically unfit. If we drink coffee on a regular basis, that what this study is showing is that it can help us stop metabolic diseases. That's cool. Okay, but it goes on and it says, as well as a reduction in overall and cause-specific mortality. So that basically means it can keep you alive, coffee. And we show that both natural and decaffeinated brands of coffee similarly rapidly trigger autophagy. That's why they keep us alive. This is how it's helping with the metabolic health of the world. So hallelujah for coffee. And it went on to say that 1 to 4 hours after coffee, autophagy was stimulated in your liver, heart, and muscles. If we're doing coffee, specifically in the morning, I mean, you can do coffee in the afternoon if you want, that you actually are stimulating the autophagy that's happening within the cells of muscles, making them cleaner, so that when you go and you add in your protein, you go and you add in your weightlifting, you're going to get that nice, strong muscle that's going to actually be visible to see. Okay, now, before you all rush off to your commercial coffee place, we need to have some coffee rules. Okay, so here we go. First rule, the type of coffee you drink matters. Coffee can be a cup of chemicals, so make sure it's organic and mold-free. If you're running down to your local coffee shop that's on every corner, franchised all over the world, that's a cup full of chemicals. That is not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about clean coffee. I will put some of my favorites in the notes. I have them on my website as well, but we want clean coffee that doesn't have chemicals in it. Okay, second thing, what you put in your coffee matters. So I know a lot of you are going to ask me, okay, well, what about my cream? Okay, what about oil? What about my coffee mate? Like, what goes in my coffee? Well, when we're looking at coffee through the lens of autophagy, we know if we put MCT oil in it, MCT oil actually can help us switch over to the fat burning state a little bit quicker, can upregulate ketones, so it shuts off the hunger hormone. So I love MCT oil. Put MCT oil in your coffee, and it can help. And studies are conflicting on this. So I'm not quoting a study about MCT oil in autophagy. I see when I look at the studies on MCT oil, I see both. I see some that say it doesn't stimulate autophagy, and I see some that does. But what we do know about MCT oil in your coffee is that it can move you into ketosis, this fat burning place, more, which is ultimately going to help you with metabolic health if we can burn fat for energy and make ketones. Cream. Okay. Organic full fat cream typically works to help us metabolically switch and get over into this fat burning place. It's a great tool for that. But one of the rules of autophagy is you don't go over 20 grams in a meal. So you got to make sure you're putting just a teeny bit of cream in there, and you're not tipping the protein scale, because there's protein in cream. So make sure your cream does not have 20 grams of protein, just a little bit. I can tell you the mornings that I fast and I want to drink coffee, I don't put cream in it. I'm learning to not put cream in it so that I can get more of that autophagy effect. If you're wondering about sugar in your coffee, no, it doesn't work. It's not, I know it tastes really good, but it's going to keep you over in sugar burner. It's never going to put you in fat burner in the fasting window. And it's going to accelerate glucose spikes. So glucose gets stored as fat, and it's going to pull you out of both ketosis and autophagy. That's not good. So no sugar. Little tiny bit of cream if you have to. Organic would be best. Raw is even better. Black is best. So make sure you're doing clean coffee, and make sure that you are also doing what you put in it really matters. And the third coffee rule, you're going to hear this on a lot of different videos, is that I want to make sure that you're minding the timing of coffee. So best time to drink coffee is a couple hours after you get up. If you drink it right when you get up, you get this cortisol spike. A couple hours later, you get another cortisol spike, and now you've got two cortisol spikes. And so where does cortisol get stored? In your belly fat. So let's try to have a cup of water, have a cup of tea, something like that early in the morning, and then wait an hour to 2 hours, and then have your cup of coffee and ride your natural cortisol waves. So those are my coffee principles. But seriously, I mean, this is great news, right? Like, not only can we fast to hit autophagy, but we can have black, clean coffee with a little bit of MCT oil and maybe a splash of some cream in the morning to accelerate autophagy. And then I'm going to give you a little bonus here on this, is then if you hit train in the morning, that also stimulates autophagy. So now we've stacked three things together to really amplify the self-healing of these cells, this self-healing mechanism that your cells have already been programmed with. Your cells came with it. They've just been waiting for you to figure it out. So now we have three things that we can put together to make that work. There you go. For those of you that are obsessed with autophagy, and believe it or not, there's a lot of you here on my channel, I want you to know that this is really a great resource for you. And if you're like, what the heck did that woman say? And I know you've made it this far in the video. I'm impressed if you still don't know what I'm talking about. But I go into all things about autophagy in Fast Like a Girl that you need to know, so you can get the resource there. And for those of you who've been following me for some time, if you're getting incredible results with weight loss or any cool result, put it in the comment. I love to read them. The research I have for you is really cool. So let's dive in, because I want to explain to you why something as simple as 1 cup of this particular thing can really benefit you. Here we go. First, we have to just talk about what the liver does, because it is the hardest working organ in our body. So it detoxes us. Hopefully you know that. Think of the liver like it's a filter. It's got a really complicated way of detoxing our bodies, but it's like every toxin that comes in is going to have to be filtered through the liver. So gosh, if you're eating a lot of toxins, exposed to a lot of toxins, your liver's working really, really hard. So that's the first thing. Second thing, and I think this is not really talked about enough. Did you know that your liver is actually it's where your body burns fat. It's a fat burning organ, which is why when you drink alcohol, you can't burn fat. So if you haven't heard that, when you are drinking alcohol, when alcohol is in your system, your liver has a priority, and that priority is to break down that alcohol so it can get it out of your system so it doesn't damage or poison your brain primarily. So while it's doing that, it's not burning fat. But normally it is a fat burning organ. And remember, it does that because when you metabolically switch over into this place of the ketogenic energy system, your brilliant liver figures it out and goes and starts to break down fat and make ketones that then go up into the brain and can nourish the brain. So we love the liver for its fat burning capabilities. Number 3, another really important concept, which is that it breaks protein down. So protein, you're going to keep hearing me talk about this. That protein, when broken down, fills into a bunch of amino acids, and those amino acids make neurochemicals in your body. They make neurotransmitters, they make hormones. You need amino acids for your complete neurochemical system. For my menopausal women and the perimenopausal women, if we are not getting enough amino acids, then what can happen is that you start to see deficits and declines in your hormones that are faster and greater than they need to be for your age. So we really have to focus in on protein and eating protein, but it's the liver that breaks it down. So we've got to make sure our liver's healthy, which is why I want you drinking this 1 cup. Don't worry, I'm getting there. Okay. Number 4 thing that the liver does that's really important that we talk about it is that it makes cholesterol. So cholesterol is not bad. You need cholesterol to nourish the brain. So it is the liver that makes cholesterol, but where this shows up a lot for a lot of you is when you start to fast or you start to heal your body through food variation and fasting variations, is that your cholesterol goes up. And then you walk into your doctor's office and your doctor is like, wait a second, your cholesterol is high. And you say, well, I've been fasting. And your doctor goes, oh, you got to stop. No, if your cholesterol is going up with either the ketogenic diet or with fasting, it means that your liver and the common bile duct and the gallbladder and all the little pieces that go with the liver may be congested. And you might want to drink this 1 cup of what I'm about to tell you. Last one. Number 5 is it primes the metabolic switch. So we need the liver to be able to get you to metabolically switch. So I hear a lot of you tell me, I'm doing everything, Dr. Mindy, I'm doing everything you told me to do, and I'm not getting in ketosis. Okay, that's a liver issue. That is a major liver issue. Let's try drinking a cup of this and see if we can support the liver to be able to allow you to metabolically switch quicker. Ready? Your 1 cup. Hopefully some of you have noticed that this is sitting in front of me. This is kraut juice. Now, this is just my local one that I can get. Kraut juice is obviously the juice that comes off of making sauerkraut, but it's packed with antioxidants. It's packed with probiotics. It's incredible for gut repair. There are so many reasons why we want to make sure that we're having a cup of this a day. And so it's not horribly bad. I'm trying to give you guys like the real, it's good, it's not great for my taste buds. I try to have a cup of it a day. It's not like I'm like, whoo, it's 3 o'clock, I should go have some sauerkraut juice, but I know how good it is for my liver, so I make sure that I have it. So here's a couple things you need to know about your daily sauerkraut juice that you're all gonna do after watching this video, right? So the first is that the cabbage matters. So sauerkraut is fermented cabbage in many cases. So red cabbage in particular is high in sulforaphane, okay? Sulforaphane is super important for your liver because it will, when you are, and sulforaphane can be found a lot in broccoli. I don't think we want to try broccoli juice. I mean, maybe you could throw some broccoli in a smoothie, but I don't think, I'll take kraut juice over broccoli juice any day. But when we are taking in a daily amount of sulforaphane, it not only improves our liver enzymes, so it brings those liver enzymes up, and the liver enzymes are so important for, again, breaking down toxins. It lowers inflammation down in the liver, so if you're like, oh, I just haven't been really kind to my liver, maybe maybe you have a history of alcoholism, maybe you've been on medications for a long time, then, we want to bring inflammation down. We want to get those liver enzymes balanced, and we want to use sulforaphane through our daily cup of sauerkraut juice to help with detoxification. Now, I'm going to leave the research in here on the red cabbage, this is obviously not red cabbage. This is a golden beet kvass. But, these probiotic tonics, they're often called kvasses, or you can just make sauerkraut at home and drink the juice. But what I want you to know is that if you're going to do red cabbage, what they have found that it's about 600 milliliters, which I went and looked up is about 2.5 cups. So you might, if you're really trying to support your liver, you might try doing a little bit more. Now, those of you, here are some areas where I would tell you to do a little more, would be like past abuse of the liver. You're really trying to accelerate weight loss, and you need that liver to help you burn fat. Your cholesterol is going up despite your healthy lifestyle. Or maybe you went on a little bit of a binger with your vacation and you need to support a healthy liver. Or maybe you just went on a whole bunch of medication or was in a surgery or something where you need some liver health. Or maybe you're not getting enough ketones. There's a lot of reasons why based off of what I told you in the beginning. Then let's dial this in. Let's do 2.5 cups of red cabbage juice. Okay, the second reason that you would want to do some kind of kraut juice every single day is because they're good in probiotic. Yay! Okay, I hope you all know that there was a trend of taking probiotic, and we took them over and over and over again. And then what we discovered was that when we take the same probiotic over and over and over again, it creates a monoculture. And that monoculture means that you get like maybe 30 of those bacteria that are really growing strong, but the other thousands are falling apart and not being fed. Okay, check this out. I have a free fasting guide for you all. It's free. And it's going to teach you all the basics of fasting. It's going to teach you how to kill hunger when you fast, which is really cool. And it's going to show you how to break your fast, among many other things. All you got to do is click on this link right here and enjoy. So we want diversity when it comes to our gut health. And so if you were to go into my refrigerator right now, I have many versions of this. In fact, I had one I almost brought you, and it's a kimchi kraut juice. And it's in there. It's spicy. It might be like, something that I have at night instead of like a Bloody Mary, or maybe in the morning. It'll have that same kind of spice profile to it. But what's really cool about kimchi is that not only are you getting the benefits of the probiotic that will help the gut, but kimchi has some vegetables in it that actually support good immunity. So we're not only getting a good amount of support for the liver, but we're also getting a good amount of support for being able to support healthy immunity, which is hopefully still super important for everybody out there. And the last thing I want to tell you about kraut juice, and why I chose to really talk about it in conjunction with the liver, is that there's this really interesting mechanism where your gut bacteria talk to your liver, and the two of them are on your blood sugar team. They're the ones that are telling you how to regulate your blood sugar. So if your gut goes off, if it goes south because you ate, you've been eating really poorly, maybe you've been under a lot of stress, maybe you went on a bunch of antibiotics, maybe you're on birth control and it's really hard to get that population of microbes to really get robust. If you're deficient in good microbes in the gut, then there's no good microbes to talk to the liver and say, hey, liver, a meal just came in. We're going to need to take this blood sugar. We're going to need to balance it. We're going to bring it down as quickly as possible. And then after you bring it down, liver, I'm going to want you to kick over into ketosis and start to give me some ketones, because the brain and the cells, everything in your body needs both glucose and ketones. And it is the gut that is going to signal that to the liver. It is like the command center, or maybe we could look at it as the older sibling to the liver, telling the liver what to do. So we need to take good, amazing care of our gut microbiome. And when I look at all the incredible things that we can do to support this miraculous organ, I'm like, this is easy. I don't care if it tastes just okay. But it's the theme here, and what I'm hoping you're getting, is that we've overcomplicated health. We got to bring food back into the equation. So I love fasting because it's this healing state that helps us take a break from all the toxic food that's out out there. But then when we bring food back in, we really have to be sensitive to the fact that food can heal too. And there's so many reasons why we want to bring more fermented foods back in, but when we look at the power of the liver and how we need to support the liver, it's really important that we are feeding it something like a cup of sauerkraut juice every single day. So, and I know a lot of you are going to ask me, can I have it in my fasting window? Maybe. Test it with your own blood sugar. So, as always, I hope that helped. If you have some trick to kraut juice, if you have a favorite kraut recipe, put it in the comments so that we can all share in your knowledge. I just think it's really cool when you break down an ancient healing strategy like kraut juice for everything we're trying to accomplish in this modern world. So, as always, I hope that helps. I don't want you to waste money on supplements. Your body's a miracle. Buy the right ones. Sometimes you don't buy them at all. Check out this video so you don't waste money on your supplement. When we do the same probiotic over and over and over again, what we're doing is we're creating a monoculture in our gut.